got that new Lloyd, man. Let me turn that down because I don't want to get copyrighted. Oh man, that's like my favorite track so far. My bestie. But anyway, good morning. I hope everybody's morning is going good. I am working as per usual. I'm away to go deal with do this wedding. Well, got a rehearsal today, and then next day is the wedding and all that. So it's all good, you know. Up and at 'em on the road, traffic. Just comes with the territory. But I got a little story to tell, so bear with me, because I may stumble over my words a little bit or whatever, but bear with me, okay? There was this company I worked for. Not like the company in my other story. This is a different company. This company I worked for. As with any company, you have volatile moments in your relationship as employer and employee and things like that. Sometimes you butt heads and things of that nature. It happens in the workplace, right? Right. So the company that I was working for, I had pretty high rapport with them, and the company got into a bit of a bind. So because the company got into a bit of a bind, they needed a little bit of extra outside support. Now, because I had a certain relationship with this company, with the higher ups in this company, I went out of my way to help the company. So I took out a business loan. I took out a business loan for the company, and to help get them through the next the next quarter. And it is what it is. And the company was very appreciative, and they were paying the loan back on their own, so everything was gravy. There came a moment where there was just starting to be more and more issues with the company and I. And we just kept having issues, and so it came to a point where I felt as though the need, we needed to go our separate ways. I needed to go find another company to work for, and they could go ahead and move on, and not a great break, not a great severing of the ties, but needed nonetheless. So with the there was never any written agreement or anything along those lines when it came to the business loan that I had taken out for the company to help them at that point, at that stage where things was going a little bit rough and things, to get them through the quarter. But I was under the impression that they would be honorable and just pay the thing back, and initially that was the case, but unfortunately after some time went by, they decided that they wasn't going to, honor our relationship and stop paying it. So the burden now, the responsibility, I should say, excuse me using that word, the responsibility fell on me now, because now, it's my name on that business loan, and I need to pay it, or else, I'm going to mess myself up in the future when it comes time if I need a loan for a house or a business of my own, or I wouldn't take a car loan out, but even a car or whatever. So, that's the backstory. Now here's where I want to get into why I'm doing this video. I'm doing this video because I found out that I knew, somewhere in the crevices of my mind, I knew that I was still bitter about the situation, about that aspect of the situation, and we all know that bitter turns to anger, and if anybody knows me, once anger starts to fester within me, I tend to lash out once it comes to the surface, Once any little thing brings it to the surface, I could stub my toe and get angry, and the anger from that situation attaches itself onto that, or I could get angry about something else, and the anger that I felt from that will come along with it. So some people, you know, if anybody's ever seen me lash out, you know, some people will feel like, you know, I tend to get really angry, and the reason is because I could be holding something, or I could have something, some residuals, and they attach themselves onto it. So I had an appointment yesterday. Well, let me back up a little bit. So, you know, I was with a friend, and we were talking, and that friend had stated that, you know, they see the anger in me. You know, they see, you know, in so many words. It was much more to the conversation, but we came to the conclusion that they see the anger in me. And, you know, I proceeded to, you know, it touched a nerve, and I did, you know, explode in a sense. Not nearly as bad as I done in the past, but I did get very, you know, I got worked up. And, you know, I found myself explaining, you know, like, well, who wouldn't be angry when, you know, when something that you looked out for, you know, turned their back on you regardless of whatever. At the end of the day, I was looking out for that company. And, you know, I didn't have to, but I did. So for them to turn around and act like they're not going to pay that back, no, that's a problem. And I don't care what anybody says, and I don't care how anybody feels, and be like, oh, well, you shouldn't have done it. Well, I did do it because I thought we were better than that. So that's done with. But now I understand that I have to deal with the repercussions of that decision, the consequences. It was a gamble. And we all know with gambles, there's that possibility, very high possibility, that you're going to lose. I took a gamble and I lost. Not going to be happy about it, but I'm going to be a man about it and take care of my business. So, you know, me and my friend was talking, and, you know, that, the way I just said it right there, it didn't come out like that when we were talking. It came out a lot more aggressive. You know, they proceeded to, you know, kind of back off a little bit, but, you know, they would later, you know, let me know, you know, they apologized if they had upset me, but I told them, no, it's no need for them to apologize. That's stuff that I had festered up in me that got brought to the surface, and I shouldn't have lashed out at them. And I you know, I didn't particularly think I was lashing out at them, but, you know, because I was directing it at them, you know, they felt the need to back up a little bit. So, and the funny thing along those lines is, on top of that, I had an appointment that I had scheduled, and that got canceled. So that set me through the roof. And I know you may be thinking, well, appointments get canceled every day, B. You know, you'd be all right. You know, I know you're probably thinking that, but, you know, you got to understand that when the anger and everything starts to set in, when it's already at the surface, any little thing will set. Somebody could have walked by and kicked me in my foot, and I'd have turned around and been angry as hell at them. Like, probably would have boiled on it, you know, all day, because, you know, as angry as I do get, I thank God that He's always been in my life enough and had people around me to make me truly think about the dire consequences of if I put my hands on somebody. So I've always had enough control not to do that. But you know, I was very angry for a few hours, and you know, I spoke with another friend, and I didn't tell them about it. I only told them about, like, me being angry about the appointment and not the other part of it. But, you know, it wasn't that I didn't want to tell them. It's just that at that point I didn't want to talk about it. So, as a few people may have saw, I went to the gym last night with my little brother, and shout outs to him, because we did our thing. I thoroughly needed that. And I think he thoroughly needed that, and he did his thing. But anyway, you know, we was working out, and in between us working out, you know, I had brought it up. Well, I had brought up another situation, another instance. I said, you know, ever since I got better, as anybody that knows, I was really sick in July. I had tonsillitis and the flu on top of it, and my body just was shutting down. You know, thank God I pulled through that, so that sucked. But you know, that was a whole month of me not being able to work out as hard. And in August, I feel like, you know, I was working out, but I just haven't felt that strength that I had before I got sick. And, you know, I was sitting there trying to think, like, well, maybe it's because I lost all that weight, or maybe it's because muscles got that. You know, I was just trying to make any old excuses. But, I mean, I know that it doesn't matter whether or not I lose the weight or not, because strength is strength. And, you know, I've seen guys smaller than me strong as hell. So, you know, that didn't matter. But I was like, what is it? Was I using some type of, you know, emotions to push through it? Was I using my anger? What is it? Because I'm missing it now. But, you know, we was talking about that. I brought that up, and, you know, he didn't really have nothing to say as far as that goes. But then I brought up, you know, that company. And I said, you know, it just... I didn't realize how much it still pissed me off that I still deal with that. And I still have to, you know, now don't get me wrong, it's not like every time I pay on it, I go to 100 and I'm just walking around angry or something like that. No, it's not that. But it's in the back of my mind. It's deep within me. Every time, you know, that amount comes out of my account, you know, it's just a little bit of a little dig, you know, just a little, you know. And like I said, it's not necessarily that I'm blowing up every 2 weeks. No, I've gotten to the point where it's fine. It is what it is. I've accepted it for what it is. But I didn't realize that, you know, with a little bit of, little dig here, little dig there, little dig there, you know, somebody keeps poking the bear, you know, obviously, after a while. Yeah, the bear is going to get annoyed or whatever, or this and that. The bear might not flare up initially, but there's going to come a point where that bear gets fed up and mauls you behind. And, oh yeah, I'm the bear. No, but, it just, you know, talking to my brother and talking to my friend and stuff, and, you know, really put me back in a place where I'm just like, I really, see, it's not a, you have to check yourself. You have to check yourself, and you have to be very honest with yourself. Me not looking in the mirror and saying, it's okay, it's all right, you know, I let it fester up again, the anger. And I'm trying not to. I you know, even in my prayers, I you know, when I sat down and I realized it last night when I prayed, I was like, I haven't asked God to check my anger in a while. And, you know, regardless of what you think or what you believe, I believe that, you know, you want something, you know, you pray on it, you ask God for it, you know. So I do ask God to check me on my anger. I ask God to help me work through it, not let it fester, not let it build up. Help me to articulate it when I need to talk to somebody, help me to articulate it and get it out. Because once I spoke to my brother about it before at the gym, you know, I had brought it up, and he just looked at me and was just like, dude, look, I get it. I get it. And even my friend, she said the same thing. I get it. You know, until you're done with this aspect of it, you're still gonna have ties to that situation, regardless of you and that company not working with each other anymore. And it's like, you know, and after they said it, and then after, you know, my brother talked about it, and he was just like, look, man, do what you're doing, pay it off, don't let it stress you, just don't let it get you to that point again, because there's nothing you can do about it. He's like, yo, there's better out there. You're going to work with other companies that's going to, you know, see the value in your employment, you know, see the value in your work ethic, and you know, you're gonna move on, you know, and you're gonna do great things through that company, and you know, maybe even start your own and stuff like that, you know. So just hearing him say that, and then going back and thinking about, you know, the discussion I had with my friend, and even though I did flare up and kind of explode on them, you know, it was needed. I needed to do that. I needed to get it out of my system, and I needed to recheck myself and say, hey, this is a part of you, and only God can help you keep that under control, and only God can help you, you know, stay on top of it. You know, I remembered our Bible study that I had, and I broke down, and this happened months ago, months ago, and I broke down in it, and you know, I remember my grandma, and you know, my grandma was real adamant in it, and I think I spoke about this in a video before, when she was like, you know, you don't say this is something you won't be able to control, you know, you don't say this is something that's going to be a part of who you are, you know, because God can change you, and God can, you know, mold you and take that away from you and stuff, and I needed to hear that at that moment, and I totally understand where she's coming from, because God can do anything. So there's nothing that's too heavy for God. He can take that away from you. The way I think about it is as a matter of, so, you know, I do think about it in that sense, but the way I think about it as well, the way I perceive it, is that God will help you with your patience. He'll help you with your understanding, so you won't get as angry and frustrated. So with me, I feel as though that anger that's within me, like even as a kid, like all my life, I've always had that temperament, but I kept it inside, and I always try to hold on to it, and I always try to not, you know, always try to not go off and hold on, and then it just comes a point where obviously I boil over, and it all just comes to the surface. And you know, I just feel as though with God in my life, you know, I feel like He's supposed to be there to just continuously help me with my patience, continuously help me with my understanding and my growth and my wisdom, and that will help me to control it, to understand it, to work through it. So, not taking away anything from my parents or my mother, my grandmother, or what any of them said, you know, but I'm just saying, like, in the way I look at it is, it'll be a part of me, but with God in my life, He'll help me to basically just control that aspect of it. And I want to say, the point of this video is, you're gonna have characteristics about yourself that you may not like, and you know, it's up to you to ask for help about them. It's up to you have the responsibility to remember, hey, I have a tendency to whatever, let me stay on top of it, let me keep it in the forefront of my mind and say, hey, you know, don't let this run away. Hey, you know, God, help me with this. Hey, you know, regardless of how I'm feeling, what I'm going through, and whatever situations is happening in my life right now, I want to keep this thing in check. You understand what I'm saying? I hope this video makes sense. So in my in my sense, I'm talking about, you know, anger. And I always bring anger up because it's something that it comes up. It just does in my life. And I could be doing well, I could be doing good, and then it just, something brings it out of me again. And, but like I said, it's always, it's good that, you know, it wasn't anything that, you know, the flare-up wasn't anything that could cost me anything or anything like that. And the person, you know, I apologize to them, and, you know, we're good. So I didn't lose a friendship over it or anything like that. You'd be surprised. And some people, they can't You know, some people, they claim that they got love for you and stuff like that, this and that. But the second they see the ugly in you, they run for the hills. So, you know, it is what it is. Some people don't understand. And some people can't deal with it. I'm not knocking anybody. I'm not saying that they phony. I'm not saying none of that. I'm just saying some people can't deal with the ugly in people. And that's fine, you know. You just, you know where you stand in people's lives and stuff like that. But I didn't lose a friendship over it. And I ain't gonna lose my brother over it, because the boy knows me all my life, so he knows. But yeah, I just want to say, just, you know, be very mindful of those things, and just, you know, stay on top of it. Just stay on top of it, okay? And continue to pray, continue to ask God for what you want, continue to talk to Him every day. Keep it moving, all right? God bless. Hope everybody have a good weekend. Enjoy yourself. Excuse me, today's Saturday. Hope everybody have a good Saturday. Yeah. Enjoy yourselves. Get home safe. Anybody on tools, please, 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 please be careful. People ain't looking out for us. Look out for them. If you're going to drink, chill for a little bit. Whatever, you know. But be careful out there. Prayers up for everybody, you know. Moment of silence for anybody that we lost and stuff. God bless. Keep it moving. All right? Later.